Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of Pokemon Ruby Nuzlocke Challenge. In the last episode, I navigated through the Mimic Circle, had an encounter with Marge of Team Magma, and made it to Fortree City. In this episode, we're going to take on the gym and make it to the next town. Unfortunately, last time upon entering the city, there appeared to be an invisible barrier blocking the gym. So without any guide or NPC hinting on what to do, it is assumed one has to keep going straight and come back later. Now, we're supposed to cover about half the route, but I figured this was a chance to get a new Pokemon. Our first unique encounter, and it is Marill. Marill is a fairly decent Pokemon with huge power as its ability, where its attack stat is double. However, being a water type means that its best moves are special oriented. So unless you want to teach it TM moves that are physical, this Pokemon does not prove useful. Keep in mind that this is Gen 3, so fairy typing was non-existent here. I do wonder what fairy would have been had it been introduced in the earlier games. Probably would have fit special, but seeing how the programmers who always bat 1,000 would likely make it physical, seeing how they've messed up so many types in the past. Now, despite my claims, this blue mouse gave me a bit of trouble, and I was forced to switch out due to the rollout, which, as I've said before, many people are not a fan of. Thankfully, Fenric can always tank a hit. Either way, this seems to be the best chance to catch it. Not sure how it can naturally make oil, but oh well. As to the roles, I named it Aqua Bunny. I wanted to go with Rara, but it was a boy. The one time I wanted to girl, and it did not go my way. Okay, now that I caught a Pokemon, all I need to do is a little traversing. Also, if you like, you can challenge Gabby and Ty again, but I pretty much did enough media coverage on them. So let's just move on. Just be aware that Gabby's Whismur is fully evolved into an X-Sploud at this point, and so proceed with caution. And just in time to break the monotony, it's Steven. So, being the son of the major corporation, he conveniently carried a device to see invisible objects. The company makes Pokeballs. For what purpose or reason did they spend funds on research just to identify and catch a single Pokemon that can color change? Kakalan gives itself away with the stripes anyways. Talk about a waste of resources. I stand corrected about him. Steven is not just like a Pokemon rendition of Indiana Jones. He has some sort of Indy/Batman hybrid mix. I bet you that was a private air wing he flew off in. Rich people. Cutting ahead. Okay, now that I have the ability to see invisible stuff, it's time to prepare for battle. You know, if the other one had fled after Steven had said to be ready for battle, it would have made him look quite foolish. In Fortree Gym, the gimmick is revolving doors, where you have to use the uppercase T's in order to advance. Typically, figuring out the gimmick reduces trainer battles, but here you are required to fight all of them, so I don't really see the point in adding a puzzle here in the first place. To be honest, in terms of difficulty, most of the people think this gym is the easiest and a joke because of the typing. I will say this though, if you underestimate this gym and you're running a Nuzlocke, you will be in a rude awakening. As per usual, I'm going to run fastforward.exe and show the solution at normal speed while I discuss a few things. In Pokemon Special, Fortree is the place where its gym leader Winona resides. She has been assigned as the tactician and leader among all the gym leaders. After the events of Mount Chimney, Flannery of Lava Ridge took it upon herself to put a state of emergency, having all the gym leaders meet at Fortree. All but 2 gym leaders were present, however one did only appear via video phone. It was there that they were deciding on how to deal with Team Magma and Aqua. As I mentioned before, gym leaders had different agendas on how to deal with the problem. Most of them had biased opinions on the matter. The ones that trusted Aqua was Roxanne, who trusted her friend Professor Cosmo, Brawley, who wanted more places to serve, and the water expert who we have not met yet. While those that believed in Magma were Flannery, because a Magma Agment tried to save the volcano, Watson, who was trying to solve the overpopulation in Malville, and Winona, who trusted her colleague Flannery. The meeting was at a stalemate on what to do, and likely a probable battleground right there, until Norman was asked on the subject. Norman was not interested on the matter and believed both teams were to be not trusted. His actions made him hated, but in a sense misdirected the internal conflict that was going to stir. At this point, Flannery suggested to ask for strong trainers to help, in which Zapphire's name was brought up. Afterwards, Winona had a battle with her to test her skills. After proving herself, Sapphire was asked by Winona to join them, and she accepted, in which afterwards she met up with Ruby and started that whole Grumpig scenario that I spoke before. So in the end, Sapphire honed her skills while Ruby went off, unsure what to do from then on. So I guess in the meantime, it is time for the next gym battle. And we have here is a gym battle against Winona. She has 4 Pokemon and is much harder than you would expect. Her first Pokemon is Swellow. The literal ace up her sleeve is Aerial Ace, which is a flying move that never misses. But the other moves it knows is actually the more thing to be concerned about. It knows Double Team, which increases its evasion, making it impossible to hit and has been tournament banned. The other tactic it wants to try is using Endeavor. Endeavor is the move where its HP will match yours. That way, by the next round, it will use Quick Attack to get a quick shot at you and defeat you outright. At this point, I thought this match was going to be very simple, because I thought Phosphora could just potentially sweep everyone. But since Swellow was getting in Quick Attacks on me, she took a lot of damage off me. So I had to switch out, which was one of the big mistakes I had to consider, just because she took out her strongest Pokemon, Altaria. Now I will say this. If you've ever had a history with broken Pokemon, Altaria is probably one of the worst. Not only does it know the move Earthquake, but this Pokemon is outright illegal and banned. If people are familiar with Heart Gold, Soul Silver, or the original Pokemon games, you've known that the moves that Lance's Dragonite are illegal. This one is just as bad. It knows Dragon Dance, which is a move it cannot learn until way later on. Even in early stages, it can't learn Dragon Dance. Unfortunately, it took advantage and is setting up on me. I was trying to take it down as fast because this was a potential sweep against me. Unfortunately, takedown was not working in my favor. I was really worried because not only was it having +3 attack and speed, which means it outsped anything I had on my team, but it was spamming Earthquake immediately afterwards. I was glad my offender was a little bit higher level, because otherwise my entire team would have been gone down. And I will say this, critical hit for the win! Our third Pokemon is Pelipper. This thing is an extremely weakened Pokemon to electric moves, but it will try to stall out using Protect and Supersonic in order to get the advantage. To be honest, This fight was pretty simple aside from the broken Altaria. If it were up to me, I would really hope that in the remakes of Omega Red and Alpha Sapphire that this would be a sky battle. Because honestly, the last game of X and Y didn't really emphasize it too much, and I really wish they did it. Though I probably would find it funny that many people would be like cheesed off thinking, "Oh man, I have to have flying Pokemon for this battle." And for Winona's last Pokemon is Skarmory. This is a steel flying type and is an extremely powerful tank. This thing could take defensive moves like easy. Thankfully, it has really low special, so using an electric attack will give you the advantage. And like that, I've taken care of Winona. Okay, now that I narrowly avoided a possible sweep there, the next thing to do is try to get to the next town. So cutting ahead. Okay, with all the stuff done in Fortree, the next thing to do is head to the next town. In the meantime, this is a perfect opportunity to talk about stuff I didn't bring up before. One interesting detail I wanted to bring is that technically the game does not prevent you from skipping Fortree in its gym. However, at the end of the game it will verify if you've gotten all the badges to circumvent this oversight. All the Pokemon games do this, but it is fun that this is the one instance you can legitimately bypass a gym without hacking. In Route 120, above that bridge was another invisible Kekulon. If you manage to beat it and get the item, behind it will be the TM for Sunny Day. So if you need it, it's there free of charge. Now one interesting detail about this route is that a specific Pokemon can be found here, which is Absol. Unlike its Gen 6 counterpart, this one had flaws which included its lack of speed and the fact that Dark was special. So it suffers the same problem grass types have in terms of usability. According to many sources, Absol is known as the disaster Pokemon just because natural disasters happen when one is found. And honestly, it is merely an oversight, as the truth is, Absol is able to sense it coming and appears as a warning that one is about to occur. One such incident was in Pokemon Special, where Verdant Turf Tunnel collapsed. Ruby was winning his first contest and met Wally's cousin, Wanda, who has such an original name. And Absol was seen there and was blamed for it, but it was in fact Team Magma's Femme Fatale, Marge, that was the one behind it. What she was looking for was an artifact that would expand the landmass. Ruby, though, being the intrusive type, got in her way and barely managed to escape. This was the incident where Marge tried to recruit Ruby and he flat out refused. I will note that the synergy that those two have is emphasized into the story for a reason. Let me say that the utility of her gloves that she shows at certain points in the story is a good indication of it. Okay, usually I skip random battles, but this guy cheesed me off, and he did have something of importance that I wanted to bring up. The Pokemon he has is a unique one, which is Surskit. Surskit is a one-of-a-kind Pokemon in terms of typing, being water and bug. It has poor stats and evolves into a bug flying type, making it lose its unique typing. Not only that, but is ridiculously rare in this game at a 1% encounter rate. This obsessed bug catcher has not one, but 3 of them in his team. Not even good in combat and just something he wanted to show off. The only cool thing about it is that this Pokemon was used by a certain character in the Emerald chapters of Pokemon Special by the name of Gil Hideout, or Armored Man. But now is not the time or place to discuss him. Okay, so what we need to do is a little more traversing before getting to the next town. Now since I have Repel up, it's best to stay in the grass to avoid trainers. For those who are familiar with this game, take in the grass scene before soon there will be no more grass to traverse in. Instead, you're gonna get into the one thing that makes Hoenn unique and puts people off, which is water routes. Hopefully with this remake, people will have a different opinion on it, as it really was a good game. Especially if they put a more emphasis on double battles. I just hope there are plenty of trimmers to go along with it. Hey look, the plot, finally! Well, that explained a lot. Hopefully an NPC can shed some light onto what just happened. Okay, from the looks of it, Team Magma want to disturb a mountain that is one giant graveyard. Well, it is a chance to perhaps get some ghost or fire Pokemon. Now I would go over there and cover Mount Pirate in detail, but I believe what is important is getting to the next town. Otherwise, I would have to traverse back 2 routes again, and I don't want to do that again. Above where the grunts were is the Savari Zone, which I will go over detail in due time. I lack certain things to make it easier for me, but for now we have reached the next town and I am in need of a healing session. Okay, in Lily Cove, this is where the highest level of Pokemon beauty contests lie, as well as the best place to shop. Speaking of which... And right here we have an optional battle against May, aka Sapphire. She has 4 Pokemon, and this is pretty much the same as last time. The only thing is that as you notice, she's using Double Team. So unlike Winona, she actually is using the strategy that I was gonna warn about. Essentially, as I've said, it's broken and tournament banned just because it makes it impossible to hit. If you have Aerial Ace, which you did from the last gym, this would be much easier. Or if you have a Pokemon that can identify it, like Odor Sloth or something like that, it should be much easy. Her second Pokemon is Nummo, and yeah, it's the same as last time, so if you can hit it with water, then it should be no problem. I will say that this will be the last time we run into May in-game, and it really makes me sad. As a character, I loved how she came out. I mean, like in the first generation, they sort of ignored the female character who was named Green, or Blue, depending on interpretation. But I did love that they managed to bring a character that's like her into this one. May, despite being the female trainer, is actually powerful and all that. So she's able to really show her colors in terms of combat. Also, I love how they kind of did the opposite with the male character in Pokemon Special. Her third Pokemon is Grovyle. This one's pretty much the same, and as you've noticed, Hell actually picked up a new move. So this is actually fairly easy, just because it knows one of the better moves of the game, which is Flamethrower. It's a powerful 95 attack damage with 100% accuracy. Fire Blast is slightly better, though Flamethrower I prefer to be more reliable. And like that, I pretty much just one-shotted her. Now her final Pokemon is, guess what? Wailmer. Yes, we've had her before. Now, Wailmer is the same in terms of moves and everything, and it will continuously either use Rollout or Water Pulse. And unfortunately, it keeps getting lucky with the status inflictions. This one, it got confused my first Pokemon, and then when I took out Fenrir, just because I was really tired of battling at this point. And as usual, 20%, yet I still get confused. So I ended up having to do a switch and waste a lava cookie on this fight. In terms of difficulty, May is very easy, and it's a real shame that you don't get to fight her later in the game. But I guess they wanted to emphasize other characters, just so that you can get a chance to fight other Pokemon. Though it does mean you don't get the final stage of Grovyle in your Pokedex, which means they're forcing you to trade. But anyways, with that, we defeated May. See ya. Such a shame. But for the purpose of plot, I will bring her up more into the game. She actually plays a huge role, and I would love to emphasize it more. But as for now, and ignoring the Team Magma grunt there, I think we've had enough for one episode. So next time in Pokemon Ruby Nuzlocke, we're gonna go to Mount Pyrite. Until then, see you later. Bye!